This is Bob. Bob owns a hot dog stand. Like most restaurateurs, Bob uses an electronic point-of-sale system to process credit card transactions. Bob's POS system connects to a back-of-the-house server that transmits credit card transaction data over the internet. Bob recently received a very disturbing call from his bank. The banker told Bob that criminals had hacked into his computer system. Worse yet, the hackers stole his customers' credit card data and then used it to make fraudulent purchases. Bob feels terrible, but he's about to feel a whole lot worse. The bank has set aside $50,000 of Bob's credit card receivables to cover the potential costs of the credit card fraud. Bob is perplexed. Isn't he the victim here? Well, yes, the banker tells him, but also no. Bob is about to get his education in PCI DSS. In the beginning, the major credit card companies came together to create the Payment Card Industry Data Security Council. The council created data security rules designed to prevent the theft of credit card data. These rules are called the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards, or PCI DSS for short. PCI DSS consists of 12 requirements and over 200 sub-requirements, which are constantly changing. The credit card companies require the banks and credit card processors to comply with PCI DSS standards. The banks and credit card processors, in turn, require merchants to comply with PCI DSS standards. The banks and credit card processors do this by embedding terms in their standard merchant contracts. Under those contracts, merchants must agree to comply with PCI DSS standards. They also must agree to take financial responsibility for losses when credit card fraud occurs. When a data security breach occurs, the contract requires the merchant to hire a computer forensics expert to audit the merchant's computer network at a typical cost of between $5,000 and $10,000. If the forensics expert concludes that the merchant is non-compliant with PCI DSS standards, then the credit card companies will fine the merchant's bank, which in turn will fine the merchant. The fines typically start at $5,000 and can increase dramatically depending on the extent of the PCI violation. But that's not all. Consumers have a right to reverse fraudulent credit card charges and obtain new credit cards. Those costs also get passed along to the merchant. The total cost of a data security breach can be staggering, by some estimates about $85,000 on average. This is all news to Bob. Like many restaurateurs, Bob is vaguely aware of data security issues, but he bought a POS system that he was told was the best and the safest on the market. His POS provider installed the system, configured the system, and periodically provides service and upgrades, all of which Bob pays for. So, he's protected, right? Wrong. Most POS providers use standard contracts under which they disclaim any liability for PCI DSS noncompliance. That means merchants are on their own when a data security breach occurs. And, unfortunately, hackers love restaurant POS systems. Well-known vulnerabilities make restaurant POS systems easy targets for hackers. In 2011, approximately 40% of data security breaches impacted restaurants. And that number is projected to grow in the future. Back to Bob. What's the alternative to hiring a computer forensic expert, paying fines and penalties for non-compliance, and paying for chargebacks and card reissuance penalties? Well, he could always quit accepting credit cards.